good afternoon or good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining us from around the world today, and a lovely warm welcome to our parents, carers and supporters session. We are going to be with you for the next hour or so, talking about how best you can support your child or dependent along the application process, as well as prepare them for life here at the University of Glasgow. I am joined by some of our dedicated specialists here at the university, and today we're going to be covering different topics such as admissions, accommodation, as well as the support that's going to be available to you throughout the university. If you are joining live, we do have a chat function, so please get your questions in. We've got staff behind the scenes, so not the four of us on screen, who are also there to answer questions throughout. So if you do have anything, put it in. If you aren't watching this live, just to give you some context, it is currently 1 minute past 1 on the 19th of November, and roughly about 13 hours ago, Scotland beat Denmark to qualify for the first World Cup in over 28 years. I thought it would be a complete amiss of me not to mention that today. So you can imagine what the mood has been like in Glasgow and in Scotland this morning, and definitely a few sore heads, that's for sure. But to give you some more introduction, so my name is Niall, and I am an international officer for Europe within the external relations team here at the university, and I will hand over to our panel to introduce themselves. Ellen, would you like to start?
Yep, sure. Thanks, Niall, and thanks for giving Scotland that shout out. Wonderful moment in history there, where it's now recorded. I'm Ellen Thompson. I'm a marketing and customer services manager in accommodation services, so looking after university accommodation.
And Leah?
I'm Leah McBride. I'm an admissions manager in undergraduate admissions at the University of Glasgow.
And Maurice?
Hi there, I'm Maurice, one of the student support officers here at the university.
Amazing. Thank you very much, guys. So as I said, please make use of the chat function that is available today. Get your questions in. The guys will be here to get them answered. And to start things off, Leah, I'm going to come to you. Do you mind talking us through the undergraduate admissions process and any important dates that students and supporters should keep in mind?
Absolutely. So all of our undergraduate applicants apply for their undergraduate degrees via UCAS. Deadlines for medicine, dentistry, vet medicine, and Oxbridge are on 15th October. And that applies all the way across the UK. Deadlines for all other programs are not until the 14th of January. That's what we call the equal consideration deadline. Admissions receive applications from mid-September, but the bulk will arrive in 2 waves before Christmas and then just before that 14th of January deadline. We understand that there can be a very anxious wait that applicants have before they hear back from universities, and we try not to let that agony prolong wherever possible. Glasgow typically makes the bulk of our undergraduate offers by the end of March. This is in line with our on-campus offer holder events that are usually held either right at the end of March or the very start of April. Technically, universities have until the 13th of May to make decisions, and in some cases, the overwhelmingly large volumes of applications mean that some admissions teams are working flat out right to that final deadline. But we do, from our side, try to get all of our decisions out where possible by the end of March. Universities are aware that decisions that are shared in May could fall during an application's examination diet. So we do everything possible to avoid essentially lots of offers going out that might coincide with major exams or cause undue stress. Our offer holders have until the 6th of May this year, well, 6th of May 2026, I suppose, to make decisions on their firm and insurance choices. This is a UCAS deadline, not our own deadline. The firm options open up additional eligibility, like applying for accommodation. and we'll have a larger discussion about that with our accommodations experts in just a few minutes. But typically what will happen is we'll be issuing conditional offers. They'll have specific conditions included, and these are confirmed when we receive examinations results in July and August of 2026. These results either come to us automatically through UCAS in the case of our SQA hires or our A-level applicants. But we also can receive qualification certificates directly from applicants that are uploaded to our portal. And at this stage, we can confirm and make our applicants unconditional. And at that stage, that's when our applicants will have their firm place, and then they become eligible for registration and enrollment, which will happen sort of mid-August. At any of these stages, we would encourage you to contact us with any questions via our inquiry channels that are on our web pages. We have a live chat option, we have a chat bot, and you can also, if you live locally or you are visiting the city, go to our sort of student services space in the Fraser building and speak to one of our admissions inquiry team, or visit one of our open days or our offer holder events. Next slide, please. So going back slightly to underline how we will assess your application, the key aspects of the application process that feed into our decisions are we review qualifications, first of all, that you have completed, the grades, the spread of subjects over each exam diet, and the subjects that you've studied. We will also consider pending study and teacher predictions on the outcomes of those grades. We do want to make sure that everyone's aware of mandatory subject requirements. For example, our engineering courses require mathematics and physics. We won't be able to consider applicants without these statutory subjects. For some programs, you may be required to complete an aptitude test. For example, the UCAT for medicine and dentistry, or if you are applying to study law, then we would expect you to sit the LNAT. And in most cases, these have defined registration and assessment windows. So check our web pages for those programs and do your research as early as possible to see what the deadlines are for those schools. You may also, for some programs, be required to participate in an interview. This could be face-to-face, it could be in a group situation, or via Zoom or Teams. But information on the format and some of our expectations will be available both on the program web pages and sometimes on the school web pages as well. So again, research and prepare with mock interviews wherever possible. The personal statement aspect of the application provides you with an opportunity to understand, to help us understand whether your chosen area is the right fit for you. We also benefit from being able to understand that suitability. We encourage disclosure of extenuating circumstances and would strongly advise that this is included within the reference rather than the personal statement. We can accept this as a verified source and make appropriate decisions on, for example, offer adjustments on that basis. If you are a little maybe uncomfortable with having that information be shared with the referee, then we would advise you to contact our inquiry team directly. Personal statements can also be really important when we receive exam results and we're sort of re-reviewing applications again at this confirmation period. Your suitability may help us positively confirm you or offer a positively matched alternative if one is available. So it's really important to make sure that personal statement shows your suitability for the program. For 2026 entry, UCAS has introduced a new personal statement format that is intended to guide applicants through 3 prompts. The first question is, why do you want to study this course or subject? The second is, how have your qualifications and studies helped you to prepare for this course or subject? And the third is, what else have you done to prepare outside of education? And why are these experiences useful? And really, we think that this is a great new format because ultimately it allows the student and anyone helping the student prepare their application really hone in on the most important aspects of the personal statement and really focus and tailor their personal statement to the areas that they wish to study. And that's me.
Amazing, Leah. Thank you very much for all that detail. Ellen, I'm actually going to come to you now. For those who don't currently live in Glasgow, securing accommodation can feel like a daunting task, especially if you are moving away for the first time. Just wondering, would you be able to talk us through the accommodation application process, and then also some of the different options that are available for undergraduate students?
With pleasure, Niall. Thank you. So if I can make it less daunting from the outset, you are guaranteed an offer of accommodation as a first-year undergraduate. So Leah has already mentioned some deadlines. So there's deadlines in the application process for accommodation too. So just at the outset, I know it's the bottom bullet point there, but just say that be aware of deadlines with relation to your accommodation application, because it is separate to your application for the offer of study. So how does it work? So we have an online accommodation portal, which it's expected to open in January of next year. Don't be alarmed at the fact, as Leah's just outlined, you may still be waiting for offers of study to come in at that point, and we're opening up in January. That's because we're also opening up for our postgraduate applicants too. So it's opening potentially in January next year. But at the moment, you can register your interest to be notified when the accommodation online portal will open for September admissions. You can go to our webpage just now, and it's in the run along the bottom there for the webpage to register, and we'll just drop you an email and let you know when you can apply for accommodation. In order to apply, you must firmly accept your offer of study. Up until that point, your details are up here in the cloud somewhere, and you need to firmly accept your offer of study, be that conditional or unconditional. And that's really important that you realise you can apply for accommodation with a conditional offer of study. You don't need to wait until you've passed your exams to be able to apply. And that's just a really important thing to remember, that you can apply for accommodation with that conditional offer. We don't send you the offer of study until you've met those conditions. So that's going to be around that very pressured exam results time. But your application for accommodation is lodged, and as long as you've got your application lodged by the 14th of July, which is the deadline to be guaranteed that offer, you're guaranteed an offer of accommodation. As an undergraduate, in your application, you pick 6 options for accommodation, and that QR code on screen there, that takes you to the residence profile, so you can get to see some of the options that we have available for undergraduates. And if I could have the next slide, please. So in regard to the options available for undergraduates, as I said already, you're guaranteed an offer. The standard length of contract in university accommodation is September to June. That's all that you need for an academic year. And also just, again, sometimes some universities will ask you to clear your room at Christmas and Easter time. We don't do that. The room is yours for the duration between September and June. So once you move in September, that's there, that's yours. Majority of residences are self-catering, and we have a mixture in our portfolio. We've got around 5,000 bedrooms within the portfolio at the moment. Some of those are standard accommodation. Standard means that you are sharing your bathroom facility as well as kitchen living space. Ensuite rooms means you've got a private shower room. We've got some self-contained studios, and we also still have some shared twin rooms in some of our residences too, for which are that's the most economical way to come and stay in university accommodation if you can share a room. Majority are around about 25 minutes walk to main campus. I should also at this point say that we do have residences in our Dumfries campus. If you're studying at the School of Environmental and Social, no, wrong way around, Social Environmental Sustainability down in Dumfries. We've got residences there too, and the application process is exactly the same. It's the same online portal, you just pick Dumfries campus and that's your application for that residence. And in your accommodation fees, you can see the current fees at the moment on the webpage, and the accommodation fees include your utility bills, your Wi-Fi, and some personal contents insurance. So you can check out more about, see more images, video tours, etc. For more details about the residences that we have on offer. And when we go live in January, you will see the fees and everything are all published in advance, so you know what would be the options for September 26 arrival.
Amazing, Ellen. Thank you very much. So, Lee, I'm going to come back to you now. Something that's actually quite close to my role is I I'm constantly speaking with the parents of international students. So for any international students who have tuned in today, I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind giving some top tips and how they can go about applying for their CAS. Leah, you might still, clocked it.
If you are a non-UK student and you don't already have some kind of existing visa or settlement that gives you the right to study in the UK, then you will be required to apply for a UKVI student visa. To start the visa process, we are required to issue with something called a confirmation of acceptance of studies. This is shortened to a CAS, a CAS. We will most often refer to it as your CAS. This will come to you in an email format, in the same email that all of your other communications from us have landed. And it provides you with all of the information you will require to add to your visa application. The CAS itself is a unique number that is going to be included on your visa application, but the email that we send you will contain both that number and all of the pertinent details about the course and the details that we have on file for you that will be transmitted to UKVI. So it's important to read your CAS carefully, make sure that when you see the first draft, all details are correct, and make sure that you understand all the documents that, for example, that might be asked for you to include in your visa application. We will collate the information that we've received from the documents that you've sent us throughout the process. For example, your passport, that's the most perhaps important document for being able to issue you with a CAS, but also the qualifications that you've provided us and the specific details of the program that you will study with us. All of that will be available on your CAS. In order to be issued a CAS, you must first be unconditional firm with us. That means that you have met all of the conditions of your offer, provided us with all required documents, and you have firmly accepted our offer in UCAS. And I should also note that we don't typically start issuing CAS until around maybe mid-May, early June. UKVI do require that we issue the CAS within a certain time limit before the start of the course. So we can't begin issuing them too early. So it won't really be until the kind of late spring, early summer that this starts. Many of our undergraduate students will have progressed to unconditional status much earlier than that. But for a lot of applicants, typically those that are doing A-levels, or if you're doing qualifications in your own country that have, have summer exams, you may not receive your results until August. This is typical. We understand this, and we have quite a large number of applicants that are in this position. So we fast track all of our undergraduate CAS that need to be produced at this stage. We make sure that we're processing these every day, that as soon as our results come in, we are preparing those CAS as quickly as we can so that they can be sent out as quickly as possible, and you can start your visa application with more than enough time to make it before the latest arrival date that's on your CAS. There are, of course, charges associated with the visa application and living in the UK, and there are particular levels of finance that you will have to evidence to qualify for the visa. One of those is sufficient funds to cover your first year of tuition fees and living costs. I would say check our web pages on our international web pages to keep up to date on information about the sort of fees and living costs and things like that. But typically we're looking to try and make sure that all of that is listed on your CAS so that you have all that information to hand and you know specifically for yourself what these requirements are. I would highly recommend that you view our how-to guide on CAS hosted by our admissions officer, Amelia. She will take you this sort of step-by-step through the CAS and visa process, and that video that you can see on the screen now is available on our international pages.
Great, thank you, Leah. And I would just like to further emphasise that video, guys. That's something I constantly advise prospective students and parents to look at. It's so explains everything perfectly. So please, yeah, as Leah said, definitely get that checked out. So we're about 20 minutes in to the session now. So please, if you do have questions, keep using the chat function, guys. The team are there to get them answered. On the actual call, we are going to now move on to what the university is like and the kind of support that's available once you've actually arrived. Maurice, you're part of the team that provides subject area to support to students throughout their time at university. Can you just give us a little bit more information about what that entails?
Yes, of course. There we go. So yeah, I'm one of the student support officers, SSO for short, here at the university. And as you can see on the slides, on the slide here, we're a team of multiple people who are all day based in the different schools. So depending on what school you're a student in, you will have one dedicated student support officer. Yeah, as I said, we're all based across the different schools and colleges, university. Could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So yeah, I just thought it would be good if I speak a little bit today about what we do as student support officers here at the university and how we can support students. So in a nutshell, we can help students with any non-academic issues that they might encounter during their time here at university. So that might be an issue that comes up in first year, the first semester, even the first week, or later on in the first year, or second, third, or postgraduate degree. So throughout the time here at university. And basically, we are the first point of contact, and I would say a little bit of a go-to guide to university life and figuring out what the different support services are, when they are available, and how to access them. So I'd like to say we're not specialists, but we can always help accessing specialist services. For example, case if there are health and well-being concerns, if student needs support with study skills, or you might have some financial issues that come up during your time here. Then also we can help you understand policies and how they relate to student well-being. As student support officers, we can also figure out what support is available within each individual school that a student is based in, and for example, who their advisor of studies is or the administrator and how they can support them. But then also what I think is probably the biggest part of the role is helping students accessing those specialist services here at the university. So that could be, for example, the counseling service or the disability service, but also a lot of the other services, which there are a lot of at the university. So that could be as well the career service, the chaplaincy, and many, many more. And then also in some cases, we might help students to access some external support resources. So that could be, for example, the NHS more broadly, or a support group, local councils. Always really depends a little bit on the situation, but we're always happy to have a look there as well. And then just want to say, if you're unsure what it really is a student would want to speak to us about, then we can always just have a chat and figure it out together, basically. So there's no need to come in and meet us and know already these are the things that I want to access. We're more than happy to just have a chat, provide that confidential space, and just figure it out together, basically. Could I have the next? Oh, great. Thank you. So yeah, just then quickly talk about some of the well-being services that are already mentioned. So first and foremost, we have the counseling service, and as I mentioned, they are there in case there are any well-being concerns, or would like to speak to someone about mental health and maybe life at university. Understand especially that time when settling into university life can be really strange and difficult at times. So they're always there to speak to a student. They have a lot of self-help resources online as well. Provide workshops and those one-on-one sessions, which I think are really, really helpful. So common issues that they do focus on are anxiety, low level depression, low mood, but also bereavements and relationship difficulties or stress. So as you can see, a wide variety of issues that they can deal with. And as I said, it's mostly for low to medium mental health issues. If it's something that requires more long-term help, then we'd usually signpost to the NHS. And I think also important to mention, they have a 24/7 student support helpline that's available. As it says, 24/7, so on the weekends as well and at night, which I think is really, really helpful in case the student needs to speak to someone in the moment. Then to move on, there's also the disability service, which is again one of the really important services here at the university. So any student with a disability, that could be a specific learning need or a long-term and chronic physical or mental health condition, can register with the service and is entitled to support through the disability service. What they can usually provide is support for studies, which could be teaching adjustments or flexibility in deadlines. It always again really depends here on the situation the student is in and what the disability advisors see as reasonable adjustments. But they're a really good resource. And if any long-term any disabilities, long-term health conditions, then definitely would recommend to register with them as soon as possible when starting studies here. And then lastly on that slide, we have the student listeners, which also I think a wonderful resource. These are run by other students who are currently students here at the university. And the idea basically is that we understand that sometimes it can be easier to speak to another student rather than someone maybe from the counseling service or another staff member, because these students, they know what it's like to be a student, to go through a lot of probably similar issues. So it might be a little bit easier to speak to them. And they do receive mental health training, but are not counselors. But they can provide a confidential space to have a chat, to listen to you, and see what kind of worries you have, and then maybe signpost you to other more specialist services if that's also necessary. But again, one of the common things they can talk to you about is, for example, relationship issues, study issues, stress, and other things that students might encounter during their time here. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So then we also have the Student Learner Development Service, or SLD for short. They're an academic writing support service, and they're really, really good when it comes to exactly that, getting support for academic writing, maybe as well planning and organizing your time and your studies, about structuring assignments, maybe also revision methods. That's also something they could speak to students about. But then also we have presentations and academic analysis. So anything really that over the time of the student's program could come up as skills they might need. They can have a chat to them about that, and they do provide online resources again, which student support officers were more than happy to navigate with you and help you figure out what the right online resources are. But they also provide one-on-one sessions, which I think are again really, really helpful, because I appreciate it sometimes just nicer to speak to someone and go through these kind of resources together and figure out what kind of support a particular student needs. Then we also have some other key student services here at the university, which I just quickly wanted to go through. So first we have the International Student Support Team, which are kind of the go-to team for anything in relation to visa and immigration advice, and just is the first point of contact, I'd say, for any issues that are related to being an international student that might come up. Maybe might be wondering at a point what it's like working in the UK, what kind of visa and immigration regulations there are. So they're really, really good as they have that knowledge. Then we also have the Student Services Inquiry Team, who are based on the second floor of the Fraser Building. And they're again a really great service if you have a question about registration or enrollment, but also need maybe some academic documents like a certifying letter, a bank letter, all these kind of things which like students typically you would need at the beginning of your course. And they can also help students with council tax exemptions and provide again a certifying letter if that's necessary. Then we also have the career service, which, as I've already mentioned, is I think also a great resource if a student would like to speak to someone about career planning or some guidance, might be a little bit lost and not really know where to go with after graduation. But yeah, they're really good service as well. They have a lot of online information, but also provide in-person meetings. They also have master classes, which I think are really, really helpful, or career coaching, and they regularly do career employability events, which a lot of students find really, really helpful. Could we just move on to that? Thank you. So then we also just have the Student Opportunities Hub, which I just quickly wanted to give a shout out, because I think, yeah, it's a great resource when looking for jobs or internships. So it is organized through the careers team, and as I said, they're a great resource if a student wants to find work alongside their studies. So that could be internships or part-time jobs here at the university directly or local businesses. Importantly, what I always like to mention here is that the internships are paid, as well as obviously the part-time jobs. And I think there's really something for everyone there. So there's in-person jobs, more hybrid ones, or remote, and in a lot of different areas. Yeah, I looked at it the other day, and there were some opportunities in social media support, and then more administrative roles, or yeah, in a lot of the services as well. So it's a really, really good resource, I'd say.
Amazing, Maurice. Thank you so much for all that dedicated and insightful information. That was amazing to hear. And just emphasising again that we're extremely proud of the support services that we have here at the University of Glasgow and the way in which we support our students. We want to ensure everyone's in the best place, both mentally, physically, to go on and succeed in the degree that they've possibly dreamt about for the last couple of years. So yeah, thank you so much for going through that in so much detail there. So yeah, please keep the questions coming in, guys. We've still got round about just under 30 minutes left now. So yeah, keep them coming in. Ellen, I'm going to come back to you for a little bit more information on accommodation. Could you give us just a little bit more information on the support that's provided to those living within our accommodation?
Yep, of course. Yeah, so linking in with the multitude of support services available on campus, when you're in a residence, that's your home, your UofG home. And we want you to be supported and happy and not have any issues there either. So there's people there to help you with that. So that starts with the site team. So they're there to help with practical things like your mail deliveries or how to work the laundry, or something's broken in your flat, so reporting a repair. They also help with the sort of regular inspections to make sure all fire equipment's up to date. They'll do there will be fire evacuations and all that type of thing, just to make sure everything's running as it should be and all safe. So that's the site team. We also have our wonderful Res Life welfare team. So they're on duty 7 days a week, 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 11 o'clock at night. And they're there for welfare concerns. So that can help with, you're not getting on with your flatmates. They can assist with some mediation, or just, it is your home. And if you're not happy at home, then that's not a good place to be. So reach out to the welfare team and they can support you through that, and potentially link in with some of the many services that Maurice has outlined available on campus. We also, they log off at 11 o'clock at night, and they'll hand over to the security teams. So security team are on duty overnight. They're available. We have an app that we use at the University, a Safe Zone app. So you can contact somebody to speak to in the early hours, in the middle of the night. And also the security teams are involved in patrols and just making sure the campus and the residences are safe all through the day and night. Also in residence life, this Res Life community, because it's not all about the studies. And you'll see that we have a series of events. We've got events taking place all year round, particularly in welcome events, welcome talks, help you with orientation. And then they have all sorts of things. There's crafting events, there's been mindfulness walks, photographic opportunities. There's a whole event related to cycling and bike maintenance and being safe at cycling in the winter. That's coming up this weekend. There's things going on, all different types of events and linking in. We haven't talked today about clubs and societies and all the multitude of things available on campus for any kind of interest that you've got. So as well as residencies, that wider community and life outside the studies, it's extremely important to be healthy and happy at university, and having that wider thing, and you're looked after, and your young person is safe and looked after. Someone to talk to.
Brilliant, Ellen. Thank you so much. So we do understand that for a majority of students or parents who have tuned in to the call today, that you might not actually have had the chance to visit firstly Glasgow or actually visit Scotland. And one thing that you do tend to find is we're all extremely proud of the university that we work at, but we're also extremely proud of the city in which we currently live. So Glasgow is the biggest city in Scotland, and it's the 4th biggest city in the UK in the sort of geographic sense of the word. So right now there is a population of around about 650,000 people who currently live within the city, and university we've got just over 40,000 students in total. And the key thing that I always say, Glasgow's amazing. I am extremely biased. You might be able to guess from my accent. I do hail from these parts, but Glasgow is one of the most welcoming cities that you'll find anywhere in the world, not just in the UK. And if there's anything, guys, that you would jump in with here, please feel free to. We're consistently voted the world's friendliest city, and that's because the environment that we have in the city, in which people come to study, to work, to live, is extremely welcoming. As a university, we've got students from over 140 countries, and it ties extremely well in with the city itself. Glasgow is a very multinational city. You have people from various backgrounds, beliefs, orientations who come here and call Glasgow home. And the environment we have, we really feel is the perfect place for a young person to come and study, but also enjoy themselves whilst they are here. We are based in Glasgow's West End, and we do have a metro system in Glasgow. I use the word metro very loosely. Key reason being, well, we would call it the Glasgow subway, but it's literally one loop. So it's not a complicated system, which you may find in London or you may find in Madrid. It's literally one big circle. You can go left, you can go right, but you're always going to end up at the same place. It only takes 24 minutes to get around the entire Glasgow subway. Hillhead subway station, that is based at our main Gilmore Hill campus, and it would take you roughly around about 8 minutes to get from Glasgow city centre out to the West End. So it's extremely accessible. And one of the great things about a student coming to study in the country of Scotland is students will get access to a free bus pass if they're under the age of 22. So that means they have free travel to get around the city, but also free travel to get right throughout the country as well. So if you want to stay in Glasgow, if you want to go to Edinburgh, or if you fancy going right up to John O'Groats, right at the very north of Scotland, it's completely free for your dependent or your child to use. So something that's really beneficial about studying in Scotland generally is that. Some more things about Glasgow. Glasgow in Gaelic actually translates as Dear Green Place, and that's because there's so many different green spaces in the city. There's over 90 parks currently, right in the West End, next to our main Gilmore Hill campus. You have Kelvin Grove Park, which is usually used by students more in the summer months to sit and enjoy and socialise. Sitting in a park in Scotland in December isn't something I would advise on doing. I think the guys would agree with me on that. But during those summer months, it is definitely the place to be. A real student feel you get. Possibly in the month of June, you could be sitting there watching the World Cup. Did I mention Scotland qualified for the World Cup already? Sorry, I thought we'd do it again. But Glasgow is just an amazing place. I think one of the key things that I love about Glasgow is the music scene that we have here in the city. Music in Glasgow do go hand in hand. We have the most amount of gigs per week outside of London in the UK, so it really emphasises the sort of stronghold that the music scene has, and this could be in world famous venues such as the Barrowland Ballroom or King Tut's. Oasis are obviously doing their reunion tour just now. They've come back into the sort of mainstream. Oasis were discovered in King Tut's back in the sort of Britpop 90s. So music definitely is a key part of the city. We actually have a union on campus. So the university has two unions currently. We have the Glasgow University Union, and we also have the Queen Margaret Union. And the Queen Margaret Union is often used as a sort of live music space. So you get performers who are up and coming, who come and perform on campus before sort of going on to bigger and sort of better things. Back in 2018, I seen Sam Fender. So Sam Fender is an English singer from the city of Newcastle, Bruce Springsteen style, lead vocal, plays the guitar, extremely talented guy. So I seen him in the QMU back in 2018 in front of about 400 people. And then in 2021, I seen Sam Fender at the Hydro, which is the largest music venue that we have in the city, which holds around about 14,000 people. So you get loads of up and coming acts who come. In the union, they actually have in one of the rooms flyers from bands who've actually came and performed throughout the years. Snow Patrol, Nirvana are two just off the top of my head. So yeah, if you're into your music, Glasgow is definitely the place to be. There's an amazing website called Gigs in Scotland, which show all the different gigs that are taking place throughout the country and all the different venues as well. So definitely have a little look at that too. Some other things, sport is a massive thing in the city. And we are actually hosting the Commonwealth Games next year in 2026. So the Commonwealth Games we actually hosted back in 2014. So the Hydro that I mentioned, where I seen Sam Fender, that was built for the Commonwealth Games. It's located on the Clyde side, the river that runs through our city. And yeah, getting the privilege to host the Commonwealth Games again in 2026 is something that we're extremely excited about, and continues the real sporting element to the city that we all enjoy. So there's loads of sports clubs and societies in-house, which are available to students, but outside and in the wider community as well. Definitely a lot of things for students to get involved and make the most of. So yeah, Glasgow is just a great place to be a young person, and an extremely safe environment too. Our campus, or sorry, the main sort of campus we have in Glasgow's West End, the Gilmore Hill, as you get that campus feel when you're on it, getting your teaching, and as Ellen mentioned, although the accommodation sites aren't on campus, a majority are within the wider West End area and are all walkable to campus, and it really gives the students that sort of perfect environment in which they get that University of Glasgow connection when they're in their accommodation and they are on campus, but they also get all the benefits of living in a sort of thriving city. The West End is a very trendy area of Glasgow. Byres Road, which is the main road that runs through the West End area, is full of independent cafes and vintage clothes stores and restaurants and bars and everything for students to enjoy whilst they're with us as well. So yeah, please, if you can't make it to Glasgow and you can't get a chance to look around before you make your application, please do a little bit of research online. I would just emphasise how great a place it is to be a young person in the city. We have the main Glasgow International Airport, which is located west of the city. Edinburgh is the larger airport and is only about an hour's drive away from Glasgow too. So really accessible and actually getting here. And yeah, it's a really young city. That'll sort of be the final thing I'll finish on. And the main reason being you have 3 universities, you've got 2 high prestigious institutions as well, and the Royal Conservatoire and the Glasgow School of Art, as well as of the colleges too. So it does really give the city this sort of young and vibrant, fresh feel. And yeah, it just makes it a great place to socialise and study at the same time as well. So yeah, I said at the start, I am completely biased. I'm not going to hide that. But yeah, we all love living here and we all love working here as well. So yeah, Glasgow it's the best city, definitely in Scotland, best city in the UK, easily. And yeah, you know what? Best city in the world. I'm going to say it. Yeah, that might be up for some debate. But right, okay, I'm going to stop talking now as I've rambled on there for a large amount of time. We're coming towards the end of the session. So just again, please, guys, the team are in the background. If you want to add in any more questions, and get them answered. But we're just going to start to round off the session here, and to each of our panelists. Finally, I would just like to ask you, for parents and those that are supporting young people tuning into today's sessions, what would you say are your top tips for making that transition from, or making that transition to university life as smooth as possible? Please, anyone who would like to jump in first, fire away.
I'll go first. And just, Niall, if it ever goes wrong in the university, you've got your job in the Glasgow Promotion Tourist Board for certain after that. Although I do agree, and you didn't mention the strapline that people make Glasgow, so there we just, we'll put Niall's face on the next poster that they do for the city. So there we go. So in terms of top tips for transition, I actually consulted my sister and my niece about this because they've just gone through this. My niece is in her first term at university now. So the top tip they came up with, and apologies to Leah and Maurice if you've got this one up your sleeve, but basically learn to cook. It's good for budgeting and your health. Building flatmate, relationships with your flatmates. If you're the one that can rustle up the dinner one night a week, then that's a good way to help bond. And the red lentil is your friend. So that's top tip number one. The other tip was get your banking things sorted out, because if you need to so make sure that young person has got access to their money. Get that sorted in the summertime before they come to university, because if a branch visit is needed, for example, then that's obviously more difficult once they've moved away. So if you can get that in order, that's a help. And finally, just the advice, as Niall said, he's obviously done the promotion for coming to visit Glasgow, but go to as many open days, offer holders events, just to get the feel for the institution and the city, and visit as many of those as you can, just to make sure that you've made the right decision about what you want to do. So that's my top tips, care of my sister and my niece.
Leah, Maurice, any of you would like to come in with anything?
Sure, I could just give a couple of the top sort of application tips. And also just to echo everything that you said about Glasgow, you may be biased being sort of from the area, but I'm obviously not, as you can hear. And the moment I came here to study for postgraduate studies, the moment I stepped off the train into the center city, I thought, yeah, this is where I want to be. And that was 13 years ago, and I've recently gotten my citizenship. So I would agree that this is the best city in the world, and everything you said is absolutely true. Even for people that come from elsewhere. So just to say that. But the top tips I would give for application process, make sure you research, make sure particularly that you have studied the correct subjects to meet any mandatory subject requirements for the program that you wish to apply to, and make sure that you're aware of any extra things that you need to do, like aptitude tests or interviews. Optimize your choices. Consider both aspirational choices and safe ones. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket that isn't as likely. You still want to have maybe a choice or two at a safe place with maybe slightly lower requirements, just in case maybe you have a bad exam here or something like that. We know that you're all going to do great, so that's not going to happen, but it's just worth thinking about. Full disclosure is useful in your personal statement to help us understand your context. So if there's anything happening in an applicant's life, we would really recommend that they either through the reference, through the teacher reference is best, but also in the personal statement, if there's anything else, let us know, because that can help us, think about a contextual offer in some cases. And also, read our communications. There's lots of information in all of the emails that we send you from the admissions team, especially the ones that include your offers. Make sure that you're double checking for any documents that we require or any sort of tasks that you need to complete before you can attend the university. Just read everything carefully, I suppose, is the best advice. And just to say that no news is good news. It can sometimes take time to fully assess applications. And there are some applications that we really can't review until after the UCAS equal consideration deadline of the 14th of January. We have to see the full pool of applicants before we can start making those decisions. So especially for any of our home applicants, it's likely it's perfectly normal not to hear anything until somewhere between sort of February and the end of March. It doesn't mean that your application isn't strong. It doesn't mean that we're looking at it unfavorably. It just means that it takes sometimes time to look at the full pool of applicants for any given subject before we can send those decisions out.
And yeah, just to add myself something to it, I can just echo what Alan has said as well about especially the red lentil is your friend as well. I'm not joking when I say right now that tonight I'm gonna have for dinner a red lentil soup recipe, which I first cooked when I was a student myself in first year. Do learn some affordable, easy, quick meals and how to cook them really quickly when you don't have a lot of time, can't be bothered, maybe are hungover. Some really quick meals I think is will be really helpful. And I can also just say, please obviously focus on your studies and look at all the different things that there are at university in terms of the different courses, programs, but also do remember that there are a lot of clubs, societies, a lot of events. There's a really big and great city here as well, which is has so much to do, so many areas. I'm speaking there as well from experience. I came here 8 years ago, was just going to do my undergraduate degree here and then maybe go off somewhere else. And I'm still living here now. Just really, really love Glasgow. So I think I can only agree that it's a great city and hopefully you'll love it here as well. I myself did not see Glasgow before moving here, but again, similarly, I stepped out of the plane and out of Glasgow airport, and do like it here, do like it here a lot, and I still am. So I hope make the most of the city.
Amazing, thank you so much, guys. That was extremely useful, and a massive thank you for taking part in the full panel today. People make Glasgow University, and people make our live interactive Q&As on YouTube. So massive thank you to our panel for joining today. And a massive thank you to everyone that's joined in throughout the world. We really enjoy doing these sessions, and I really hope that you have found it useful, and I've got loads more information about how you can support your child or your dependent throughout this process. That is it for now. We will be ending the session in a few minutes. However, there is loads of information still available for you after the session is complete. We have a dedicated parents page on our website, so head over there to get some more information. And also, we always have an inquiry link too. So if you do have further questions afterwards, just drop us an inquiry and we will make sure that gets through to the right team and gets that answered for you as soon as possible. So there isn't much else left to say again, but thank you for joining, and we hope that we will be welcoming you, your child, your dependent, possibly to the University of Glasgow in the future. So thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.